Tonight, duplicate absentee ballots are once again raising questions in the city of Green Bay. Yesterday, city announced that some voters received 2 ballots for the upcoming August primary. Officials say they're still investigating what happened, but this is already the second issue this election year. In a First Alert update, Samantha Cavalli joining us live in the studio after speaking with local leaders on both sides of this issue.
Right, Cami, the biggest question on every Green Bay voter's mind tonight is how did this happen again? After thousands of absentee ballots were mailed out last week, it took election officials nearly 3 days to realize that some voters in several wards received those duplicate ballots. Back in April, if you remember, the Republican Party of Wisconsin filing a complaint with the Wisconsin Elections Commission accusing the Green Bay clerk's office of sending duplicate absentee ballots to 152 voters ahead of the spring election. The city later said that incident was an administrative error and that no duplicate ballots were counted. In that news release on Sunday, City Clerk Celestine Jeffries called this recent incident a printing error and said she regrets the mistake. She also said only 1 ballot per eligible voter will be counted. Republicans say that the repeat issue points to a pattern that hurts trust in Green Bay elections, while Democrats say the concern is real, but transparency is key to protecting confidence in the process.
Until we can stop working with humans, we're going to need transparency because there will always be some kind of mistake. So having leaders who will immediately fess up to what's going on and be clear is tremendously important.
We said that in writing that, absent of full-scale investigation and corrective action to understand why this is happening and to have the clerk explain why this is happening, without that sort of oversight, we said this will happen again.
The city has not yet said how many voters were affected, what caused the duplicate ballots, or whether this is connected to the earlier issue. We requested an interview today, but the city declined while the investigation continues. We've also reached out to Clerk Celestine Jeffries, but have not heard back. Cami.